Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why I think upgrading your brakes are totally not worth it if you're driving a WRX or an STI. And don't worry, that might sound like a crazy statement, but I'm going to defend myself. And yes, this is going to be a short video because I can defend myself and defend my opinion in a very short, brief, educated engineering explanation. So we'll get into that. I know there's a little bit of craziness behind me. I'm actually racing over to film another video. I set up all my stuff to shoot B-roll footage and was missing one cord for my motorized slider, so we're racing back there, but I've got the full setup already built behind me just because I was too lazy to break it down and do all that stuff, and I'm trying to race sunlight here, so that's why stuff's behind me. But in this video, we're going to talk about why I think it truly isn't worth upgrading your brakes. And by upgrading your brakes, I mean either going with a big brake setup or spending a lot extra money when you're just replacing your brakes with like high performance brakes or something. And I'm basically defending the use of an OEM setup or in-kind OEM, meaning the same cost, maybe with a brand that gives you a little bit more oomph out of those, out of your dollars. But I'm saying don't spend more than OEM for your brakes. So I think the first and foremost, why should you listen to me? And you should listen to me because I've now, well, if you haven't followed the channel, I've now done a deep analysis on a bunch of different brake setups. And because I wasn't feeling putting a full big brake setup on this car, I went out over the past couple weekends and got some experience with other WRXs and STIs running big brake setups. And those are more track-oriented brake setups, and they are put on those cars for the track, but I was able to get some experience daily driving them around the streets so I could have a full rounded opinion. And yeah, so totally not worth it. And you know, let me caveat, if you are tracking your car, doing any kind of autocross or doing any type of drag strip stuff, yes, worth it. You're gonna see the benefit. I'm not here to tell you that's not the case, but if you are daily driving your car, driving it on the weekends but in your city, basically if you're in any condition where you're not going to be heavily braking to keep up high speeds and braking over and over and over again and cornering over and over and over again for long extended periods of time, you're not going to see the benefit of a big brake kit or an extremely expensive high performance brake kit. And that's just simply because you're not going to see it. Your butt dyno, the feeling you're going to get in the response, just isn't going to be seen through what you can get. And I think the reflection here, the more important reflection here, is how well the existing braking does in retrospect to what's available out there for expensive upgrades. For everyone that thinks, oh, the existing braking kit isn't that great, well, you can spend equivalent money and get something like a Stoptech or FactionFab full setup rotors and pads for the same amount of money as the OEM kit, but you're not spending more money. The jump to what's more expensive than that, you're not going to physically notice, and I can speak from experience. I have never even been able to get, in a daily driving situation, the new setup to fade. The old setup, the OEM setup, I was starting to fade, but that was simply because after crazy driving, I got them to fade, and that's after like 35,000 miles on them. So that's a reasonable expectation. But I guess the balance of you won't be able to tell unless you are truly in a track or race environment, and the extra money just tells me it's not worth it. And for the average person who is stepping into this platform and is looking for better braking, I can tell you, you don't really want to look for that. It's such a common thing for me to get comments on live streams, on Instagram, messages, all kinds of stuff. What do you do for big brakes? What do you do for big brakes? And my first question is, where are you going to track your car? What kind of autocross are you driving? And the person usually responds, I'm just daily driving. So then I always ask them, why do you care about the brake performance after, 10 minutes of hard braking at high speeds? And usually people say they don't. And then my rebuttal is always, then why are you spending big dollars on it? I mean, a big brake upgrade, if you do all the work yourself, could cost you upwards of $4,000. It's like you can spend $2,000 to $3,000 and then you can spend like $3,000 to $6,000, and this is all your own labor. Or you can spend like $500, $600 and get an in-kind, again, this is all your own labor, an in-kind replacement. Maybe it's a little bit more. I got a slight discount, but not that much money. $170 for front and rears. I guess this is before the whole COVID stuff, so things may have appreciated. It might be more expensive, but I think I spent like $400 on rotors and $200 on pads, so maybe $600 total. And that's certainly a big upgrade from stock, but again, that's how much OEM rotors and pads are. So I guess my comment is not worth $2,000, because I just went out and drove setups that range anywhere from $2,000 that were, you know, trade my brake setup with your STI brake setup on a WRX, to full Willwood or Brembo, full massive brakes for track setups. And those were great. Those were a lot of fun, but I just couldn't use them. There was no benefit. I mean, like, stopping is great and fun, but I couldn't use them. I really had a hard time even testing them, because it was so hard to figure out how to use them on a daily driving scenario. There's my quick explanation why big brakes and brake upgrades just aren't worth it on the WRX and STI platform. And again, if you're doing util racing, driving, track driving or something, or you're in a situation that you drive your car so hard and you're in the perfect rural environment that you can do that, then yeah, brakes are probably worth it. But otherwise, I'd take a hard look at what your kind of driving is, and probably put your money elsewhere on this platform. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.